Stop taking the Bible literally. The Bible was never meant to be a history book. It is the map of your mind, written in symbols, whispered through allegory. Every verse is a mirror held before your soul, every parable a doorway to your own hidden power. When Joseph Murphy spoke of the inner meaning of the Bible, he revealed a truth both ancient and eternal. You are the Garden of Eden. You are Adam, the thinker, and you are Eve, the feeling. Within you lies the serpent of the senses, the whispering force that tempts your mind away from the one power, the infinite life within you. Stay until the end of this message, and you will not only see the Bible anew, you will discover that its stories are not about history, but about you, and how to awaken the power that shapes your world. In the silence of creation, before any word was spoken, the mind of man was the Garden of Eden, fertile, untouched, radiant with divine potential. The four rivers of Eden are not waters flowing upon the earth, but currents within you, the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. Each river carries the life force through your being, joining heaven and earth within the temple of your body. The flora and fauna of this garden are your thoughts and emotions, some bright as sunlight, others coiled with shadow. The animals that move within are the instincts of your nature. The trees are your beliefs, branching from the soil of memory. And in the midst of this inner paradise stands the tree of life, your awareness of God. And beside it, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, your divided belief in two powers, good and bad. When you take the Bible literally, you miss the miracle of this garden. You search for Eden on a map, forgetting that it was never lost. It only sleeps behind the veil of your senses. Adam and Eve were never two persons. They are two principles of your consciousness. Adam is your conscious mind, the reasoning, choosing faculty, the thinker, the observer. Eve is your subconscious, the creative womb that gives life to whatever Adam believes and feels to be true. When Adam sleeps, when the conscious mind rests, Eve awakens. She shapes the rib of your thought into form. She governs the heartbeat, the breath, the dream. Through her, the invisible becomes visible. Every miracle, every healing, every answered prayer is born of this sacred union, the marriage between the conscious and subconscious. When you understand this, you see that every marriage in the Bible, from Abraham and Sarah to Joseph and Mary, is the eternal dance of thought and feeling, belief and emotion, giving birth to manifestation. You are always creating children in this way, not of flesh, but of consciousness. Every idea you nourish with feeling becomes a living thing in your world. The question is, what are you conceiving? The serpent that tempted Eve is not evil. It is the voice of the outer world, the whisper of appearances. It is the symbol of the five senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. Messengers of the external, often deceiving the soul that listens too closely. When you believe only what you see, you become lost in illusion. You forget that appearances are but reflections of inner thought. The serpent says, "See the sickness, see the lack, see the fear." But the truth says, "See beyond it." When you turn your gaze inward, when you remember the one power, you slay the serpent by understanding it. You see that it was never an enemy, only a messenger showing you the state of your belief. There is no evil power in the world. There is only one power, used ignorantly or wisely. Used in fear, it becomes destruction. Used in faith, it becomes creation. Used in love, it becomes God made visible. The tragedy of literalism is not ignorance, it is separation. When you read sacred words as outer events, you divide the Creator from the creation. You place heaven in the sky and forget it is within. You worship the form and forsake the source. This is why religions, like empires, rise and fall. The living truth becomes ritual. The flame becomes stone. The priests of the letter replaced the prophets of spirit. And so man lost his inner Eden. Joseph Murphy said, "An allegory is the representation of spiritual meaning through material form." When the church told you Eden was between the Tigris and the Euphrates, they handed you a geography book when you were holding the blueprint of your soul. There never was a literal Garden of Eden. There were only the fields of your own consciousness, some overgrown with fear, others blooming with divine imagination. The serpent, the trees, the rivers, the man and woman, all of them live within you. Every mind bears two trees, one rooted in belief in two powers, good and evil, health and sickness, abundance and lack. The other rooted in the one presence, the tree of life, whose fruit is peace, harmony, and power. When you eat of the tree of duality, you fall from Eden. You fall into the dream of opposites. You begin to judge, to fear, to react. You lose the innocence of knowing that God is all and all is God. But when you return to the tree of life, when you hold your attention on love, truth, and unity, you awaken. The cherubim no longer bar the gate, because the gate was never outside you. It was always the direction of your thought. To think rightly is to dwell again in paradise. The true marriage, says Paul, is not between man and woman. It is between your thought and emotion, your conscious and subconscious, your head and your heart. When these two are joined in harmony, the two shall become one flesh. And what is conceived in that oneness must come to pass. Every answered prayer, every vision realized, every healing that defies logic, it is the child of this divine marriage. When you consciously choose an idea and feel its reality, when you make your mind and feeling one, the subconscious receives it as law. It cannot resist. It must create according to that union. This is why Murphy said, whatever you impress upon the subconscious mind is expressed on the screen of space as condition, experience, and event. Your world is the child of your inner marriage. There is no devil outside you, only divided thought within you. There is no fall, only forgetfulness. The moment you remember that the serpent, the tree, and the flame are all one power, your power, you awaken from the dream of separation. Then the words of Genesis become prophecy fulfilled. Let us make man in our image. For when the conscious and subconscious are joined, God is born in you. That is the true birth of Christ, the holy child of awareness, the light of realization that says, I and the Father are one. This is the Bible's inner meaning. This is the truth hidden behind the veil of myth. And it has been waiting not to be believed, but to be experienced. So if Eden is within you, how do you return to it? How do you walk again among its rivers, its light, its peace, while living in the world of form? The answer lies in one secret practice Joseph Murphy called the law of subconscious impregnation. And when you learn to use it, you will understand why every prayer, every miracle, And every transformation begins in the silence of your own mind. Every night as you close your eyes, you return to the garden unseen. It is there in the hush between waking and sleep that creation begins. The subconscious mind, the Eve within, never sleeps. She is the silent builder, the keeper of rhythm, the preserver of life. She beats your heart, heals your wounds, and records every word you whisper in thought. And whatever she receives with feeling, she makes flesh. This is the mystery Paul spoke of when he said, "The woman shall be subject to the man." For the subconscious, the feminine principle, must obey the impressions given by the conscious, the masculine principle. But obedience here is not submission. It is the sacred law of creation. What the conscious conceives, the subconscious conceives also, not in argument, but in faith. To impress the subconscious is to plant a seed in the soil of eternity. Every emotion waters it. Every image feeds it. And when the feeling of reality ripens, the invisible becomes visible, inevitably, effortlessly. Imagine your mind as a vast field. The conscious mind is the farmer, choosing the seed, naming the harvest. The subconscious is the earth itself, rich, dark, and infinitely fertile. The earth does not ask whether the seed is poison or perfume. It simply gives life according to the seed's kind. So it is with the subconscious. If you sow fear, she grows illness and delay. If you sow love, she yields healing and abundance. The subconscious accepts whatever you feel to be true, not what you wish, not what you hope, but what you feel with conviction. This is why emotion is the key. The moment your idea is tinged with feeling, it passes from the intellect into the womb of creation. The subconscious is not moved by words. It is moved by feeling. You may say, "I am wealthy," yet tremble in fear. The subconscious hears only the trembling. You may whisper, "I am healthy," yet feel unworthy. The subconscious receives the unworthiness. Therefore, the secret is not to repeat, but to feel as though it were already done. Murphy called this living in the end, the divine state where your desire is not a future hope, but a present truth. There is a moment just before sleep when the conscious mind drifts and the gates of the subconscious open wide. In that twilight state, between the seen and unseen, every image you hold becomes a command to the deeper mind. If you wish to transform your life, make that sacred moment your temple. See yourself already living the answer. Feel it with such fullness that the outer world fades. You are not to beg or plead. You are to become. Say within yourself, "I am now one with my desire. It lives in me as real as breath. The power that made the stars fulfills it through me now." And then, let go. For letting go is faith. Faith is not straining to believe, it is resting in the knowing that the law is perfect and the seed already planted. Your subconscious mind is a divine architect. She draws from the blueprint of your feeling to build the structure of your life. Every house, every meeting, every so-called coincidence is the crystallized echo of a thought once felt deeply. The outer world is your subconscious in form, your beliefs wearing matter as a mask. You have never met a person, entered a place, or faced an event that did not first live within you. This is not fatalism. It is freedom. For once you know that the outer mirrors the inner, you cease fighting shadows. You go to the source, to the workshop of imagination, and there you change the pattern. If your world shows lack, plant the idea of abundance. If it shows conflict, plant peace. If it shows illness, plant wholeness. And water these seeds daily with gratitude and faith until they take root. The subconscious never fails. She has never lost a seed, only obeyed its nature. Murphy said, There is only one power, not two, not 1,000. The difference lies in how you use it. That one power flows through every man, woman, atom, and star. Used ignorantly, it becomes fear and disease. Used consciously, it becomes health, joy, and creation. The Bible calls this same power God, Spirit, life, the Father within. Names differ, essence remains. When you say, I am, you invoke this power. I am is the name of God, the living presence within you. Every word that follows it shapes your destiny. Say, I am weak, and the power becomes weakness. Say, I am strong, and it rushes to clothe you in vitality. The serpent, the tree, the flame, all are forms of this one power, twisted or illumined by belief. There is no evil force opposing you. There is only misunderstanding, the misdirection of divine energy. The moment you realize that your subconscious is your Eve, that your feeling is the creative medium, you stand once more at the gates of Eden, and the flaming sword that barred the way, fear, guilt, separation, vanishes in the light of understanding. You re-enter the garden not by pilgrimage or penance, but by awareness, by knowing that heaven is not a place you go, but a state you grow. The cherubim guard no outer gate. They are symbols of wisdom and love, the guardians of your inner temple. When wisdom guides your thought and love fills your feeling, the garden blossoms again. You realize the rivers of Eden still flow through your nerves, your blood, your mind. The flowers still bloom as ideas, as intuitions, as moments of joy. Eden never left you. You left Eden through forgetfulness, and you return through remembrance. At this point, I invite you not to believe, but to practice. Join the 21-day challenge to create your dream life, linked in the description and pinned comment below. For 21 days, you will practice what Murphy taught, the union of thought and feeling, imagination and faith. You will learn to impress the subconscious as he did, gently, joyfully, with certainty. And by the end, you will not only think differently, you will be different. Remember, no outer change endures without inner change. Begin with the invisible, and the visible will follow. Pause, breathe, tone softens. Now, return with me to the silence. Feel the living power that breathes through you now. You are the thinker and you are the dream. You are Adam and Eve in one form, reuniting the divided mind into harmony. Let this awareness settle like a seed in the soil of your heart. Faith, as Murphy revealed, is not blind obedience. It is imagination on fire with conviction. It is the seeing eye that looks through the veil of appearances and declares, "It is done." To have faith is to live as if the invisible were visible, to walk as though your desire were already fulfilled, to speak as though heaven had already answered. This is the true magic of the mystic, the ability to feel before seeing, to give thanks before receiving. For feeling is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between spirit and matter, between God and man. When faith and feeling unite, mountains move, not by force, but by law. There is a line between the finite and the infinite, yet it is drawn only in the mind. Erase that line. See the world not as separate from you, but as your own consciousness objectified. Every star above you is a spark within you. Every law of nature is your own mind in orderly expression. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the ocean in a drop. And when you remember this, prayer becomes effortless. For prayer is not asking, it is alignment. It is joining your thought with the divine pattern already waiting to unfold. To pray rightly is to become the thing desired in consciousness until the universe has no choice but to mirror it. But what happens when your mind is divided, when the conscious and subconscious war against each other? Why do some prayers seem unanswered and some dreams delay? The next part reveals the hidden battle between faith and fear, and how to reconcile the two to become the master of your own Eden once more. The greatest battle ever fought does not rage on fields of earth. It takes place in the silence of your own mind. It is the eternal conflict between belief and doubt, between faith and fear, between the voice of spirit and the echo of the senses. Every human being lives upon this battlefield. It is not a war of swords, but of attention. For wherever your attention goes, your power follows. The conscious mind, like a vigilant sentry, stands before two kingdoms, the outer world of appearances and the inner world of truth. When it listens to the serpent of appearances, it falls under the spell of duality, good and evil, loss and gain, life and death. But when it listens to the whisper of the inner spirit, that still small voice, it awakens to unity, one power, one life, one presence, expressing through all. Murphy called this the law of belief. It is done unto you as you believe, not as you wish, not as you beg, but as you believe. The war ends when you realize that belief itself is the creative force. You have never been punished by God, only by the misuse of your own mind. When the conscious mind drifts into fear, it sends conflicting commands to the subconscious. One moment it says, I am healed, and the next it trembles, what if I am not? One moment it declares, I am guided and prosperous, and then murmurs, I never have enough. This is the double-mindedness the Bible warns of. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. For the subconscious cannot serve two masters. It accepts only one dominant impression, and the stronger feeling always wins. It is not words, but emotion that imprints the subconscious. When fear burns hotter than faith, the subconscious obeys fear. When faith glows brighter, fear dissolves like mist before the sun. So you must decide which master you serve, the outer evidence or the inner truth. Understand this well. Emotion is sacred. It is the fire of creation, and like fire, it can warm or consume. Fear, resentment, and guilt are emotions turned against their source. They distort the divine energy and mold it into suffering. Love, gratitude, and peace are emotions in harmony with their source. They mold it into miracles. The serpent, when understood, becomes the kundalini, the life force rising from earth to heaven, from the subconscious to the conscious, transforming ignorance into illumination. The serpent is not your enemy, it is your energy. Only ignorance twists it into destruction. Only wisdom transforms it into awakening. Therefore, when negative emotion stirs within you, do not resist it. Redeem it. Transmute it by saying inwardly, this too is life, seeking expression through me. I now direct it to love, peace, and healing. And at once, the energy that was fear becomes faith. The serpent becomes the savior. How then do you reconcile these two minds, the conscious and the subconscious, into one harmonious power? Murphy taught a simple but profound secret: agreement. When your conscious mind and subconscious agree, the result is inevitable. When they are divided, the result is delay. So your task is not to create new power, it is to remove contradiction. You cannot say, I am loved, while feeling unworthy and expect the subconscious to obey. You cannot affirm, I am rich, while feeling lack and expect abundance to bloom. Your subconscious accepts the feeling, not the phrase. Therefore, before you affirm, prepare your feeling. Calm your body, still your thoughts. Enter that sacred silence where imagination becomes reality. And when you speak your affirmation, speak it not to the air, but to the depths of your being, as one speaking to a beloved friend. I and the Father are one. My subconscious is faithful and divine. It brings forth only that which is true, beautiful, and good. Speak in love, not fear. Feel the peace of oneness. Then your words become seeds of power, and the war within you ends. Sin, in its true meaning, is not moral failure, but separation from truth. It is believing in two powers instead of one. It is taking appearances as reality and forgetting the unseen cause. Salvation, therefore, is not escape from punishment, but restoration of unity. It is the moment you awaken from the dream of fear and remember, the Father and I are one. There is only one life, flowing through me, as me, for me. This realization is the true forgiveness of sins, the release of divided thought. The instant you feel unity, you are made whole. Your body, your affairs, your world rearrange themselves according to the pattern of peace. So when guilt or regret rises like a ghost from the past, do not fight it. Embrace it with understanding. Say, I was asleep in separation, but now I am awake in unity. And the ghost dissolves, for no shadow can live in the presence of light. Every transformation begins with a moment of surrender, not to weakness, but to truth. When you cease fighting the outer world and begin shaping the inner, the old self burns away like dry leaves before a new spring. This is the baptism by fire. It is not a ritual of water, but of purified awareness. It is the moment you look at your own thoughts and see which ones belong to God and which belong to fear. The fire of awareness does not destroy, it refines. It melts the hard shell of ego until the gold of spirit shines through. That gold is your true nature. It was never lost, only covered. And when the dross of doubt is burned away, you realize that heaven has always been here, in this breath, in this now. Every ancient temple was built to symbolize one truth, that the holiest altar is not of stone, but of consciousness. Your heart is that altar. Your thoughts are the offerings. Your emotions are the incense. If you bring to the altar fear and resentment, the smoke clouds your vision. But if you bring gratitude and love, the temple fills with light. The altar is not visited once a week. It burns perpetually. Every moment you think, every emotion you feel, you are worshiping either the God of unity or the idol of fear. Choose this day whom you will serve. For as Murphy said, your world is your mind objectified. Change your mind and your world becomes a new creation. When the conscious and subconscious unite in perfect harmony, a new awareness is born, the Christ within. It is not a man, but a state of consciousness, the union of heaven and earth within you. Joseph and Mary are not historical figures here, but symbols. Joseph, your conscious, reasoning mind. Mary, your subconscious, feeling nature. Their child, the Christ, is the realization of God within you. When the two unite in love and faith, the divine child is born in the manger of your heart. This is the true nativity, and every time you imagine with faith, you recreate this holy birth anew. The angels that sing are your higher intuitions. The shepherds are your disciplined thoughts, keeping watch over the flock of ideas. The star is your guiding vision, pointing always to the divine within. You are the Bible, living, breathing, eternal. The war of the two minds ends not with conquest, but with surrender, the surrender of illusion to truth. You do not destroy the lower, you transmute it. You do not reject the senses, you sanctify them by seeing through them. When the conscious mind becomes the loving guardian of the subconscious, peace reigns. No longer divided, you move as one, thought and feeling, heaven and earth, mind and matter, united in divine rhythm. Then your outer world mirrors your inner Eden, orderly, abundant, luminous. You live no longer by reaction, but by creation. You walk through the world as through a dream you understand, shaping it gently, like an artist with infinite patience. And you realize that the serpent, the woman, the man, and the garden were never separate things. They were all names for you, the eternal dreamer, awakening to your own divinity. But awakening is not the end, it is the beginning. Now that you know the law, how do you use it to transform every area of life? Health, wealth, love, and purpose. In the next part, we descend into the workshop of imagination itself, where Murphy reveals the most sacred practice of all, how to speak the language of the subconscious and command reality as a child of the infinite. Within you lies a hidden chamber, a silent sanctum untouched by time. It is the workshop of imagination, the inner temple where all things are formed before they appear. It is here that the sculptor of destiny works, not with hands but with feeling, not with tools but with vision. When Joseph Murphy spoke of imagination, he was not describing idle fantasy. He was describing the creative act of God. For imagination is not something you possess, it is something you are. It is the life principle itself, dreaming worlds into form. Everything you see, every cathedral, every symphony, every miracle, began as an image held in the stillness of a single mind. Your imagination is the womb of the universe, localized in you. Whatever you imagine with conviction, the subconscious brings to birth. This is the true meaning of "let us make man in our image." The us is the union of your conscious and subconscious. The image is the picture you hold in imagination, glowing with feeling, pulsing with belief. You are not punished for your imagination. You are punished or blessed by it. For every mental image is a living seed, and every seed seeks to express its nature. Think of the subconscious as a mirror. It reflects the image you hold before it. Hold the picture of peace, and it mirrors peace into your body, your home, your affairs. Hold the picture of fear, and it mirrors fear, shaping even the cells of your body to match the vibration. Murphy said, "The subconscious mind is the film upon which your thoughts are impressed, and the world is your photograph developed." So when you look upon your life, do not condemn the picture, change the negative. If you dislike the image in the mirror, you do not strike the glass, you alter the face you show it. So too with life. Outer change follows inner vision. The artist does not blame the canvas for his sketch. He refines the drawing until it matches the ideal. The wise man does not curse appearances. He refines his inner picture until the world aligns with his heart. The subconscious does not speak in words. It speaks in symbols, moods, and feelings. It understands only one language, the language of belief. When you imagine vividly, with deep emotion, the subconscious accepts the picture as fact. It cannot distinguish between the real and the vividly imagined, for to it, both are real. This is why visualization, prayer, and meditation have power. They are not attempts to force reality. They are rehearsals of reality until the inner world becomes more real than the outer. Once the subconscious accepts an idea, it sets in motion the infinite intelligence of life itself to fulfill it, through means you could never predict. You are not to wonder how. You are to feel that it is so. When the feeling is fixed, the law begins to work, silently, ceaselessly, irresistibly. The outer results may seem miraculous, but they are no more miraculous than an acorn becoming an oak. The law of mind is as natural as gravity. unseen, but absolute. Murphy often said, "Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and it will be so." This is not poetry, it is precision. To feel it real means to withdraw attention from appearances and live inwardly in the state desired. It is to feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude, as though your prayer were already answered. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you have impressed the subconscious. That feeling is the seed. Once planted, it will grow, regardless of outer conditions, for the subconscious knows the way. Just as the earth knows how to bring forth the harvest, your deeper mind knows how to manifest the vision you impress upon it. Say to yourself before sleep, "I now accept that my prayer is answered." I live in the feeling of completion. The law of the subconscious works in my favor now and always. Then surrender the image to the depths. Let the night carry it like a seed beneath dark soil, germinating unseen. When you awaken, act as one who already possesses the thing hoped for, not in pretense, but in faith. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Cross it daily, and your world will change its face to match the light of your conviction. All prayer begins with a single truth: I and the Father are one. The Father is the universal subconscious, the infinite creative intelligence that animates all things. The Son is your conscious awareness, the directing principle. When these two agree, creation is complete. Thus, when you pray, do not beg, unite. You are not appealing to a distant power. You are awakening the power that already lives within you. At the altar of imagination, the offering is your feeling. If your offering is pure, if it is filled with love, gratitude, and certainty, the law answers without delay. If your offering is mixed with fear or doubt, the answer is delayed until the heart is made whole. This is why the mystics of every age taught silence before prayer. For in silence you purify the heart of contradiction. You align thought and emotion, word and will, heaven and earth. Then you speak your word as the universe itself speaking. Peace, be still. Let there be light. It is done. And the law moves. Your imagination is the chisel. Your feeling is the pressure that brings form. And every moment you think, you carve the unseen into shape. So ask yourself daily, what image am I sculpting now? If your world shows chaos, perhaps your inner hands have been carving carelessly. Do not despair, for every block of marble, no matter how rough, holds a masterpiece within. The sculptor does not curse the stone. He sees the angel trapped within it and releases it with each stroke. So too must you see the divinity hidden within every limitation. See beyond the appearance, and the appearance must change. This is what it means to call those things which are not as though they were. You are not lying to yourself. You are speaking the higher truth until it becomes flesh. Life is a movie projected by your inner light. The real is your imagination. The film is your subconscious. The screen is your outer world. To change the film, you do not scratch the screen. You rewrite the real. This is why the wise look within while the foolish blame without. When you understand this, you stop struggling with appearances. You become the director, not the actor lost in the scene. You realize that every problem was only a role your consciousness was playing, and that the script can be rewritten at any moment. Say within, from now on I project only love, peace, abundance, and divine order. My outer world reflects the harmony of my inner world, and so it is. To live this truth requires spiritual discipline, not effort, but constancy. Each day you must return to the inner picture, especially when appearances seem contrary. Do not measure the truth by the delay of time. The seed planted in faith may take days or months to appear, yet once planted, it must bear fruit. It is law. When doubt rises, return to the inner vision. When fear whispers, reimagine the end. Do not wrestle with appearances, replace them. Every repetition of truth deepens the groove of belief until it becomes automatic. This is how habits of thought become destiny. So cultivate the habit of heaven. There is no limit to what imagination can do, for imagination is God's own tool. Every saint, every scientist, every creator has been a channel for this same power. When you imagine in love, you participate in the divine act of creation. You become a co-creator with the infinite. So dream nobly, imagine beautifully, feel deeply, and then trust completely. For the law of life is not mocked. It fulfills your faith to the letter. The world will call it coincidence. The mystic knows it as correspondence, the reflection of inner cause on the mirror of space and time. Yet one mystery remains. If imagination holds such power, why do so few live as masters of their own dream? The answer lies in the final revelation, the awakening of divine identity. In the last part, you will discover what it truly means to say, I am, the name of God within you, and how to live every day as the living expression of that sacred truth. When Moses asked the voice within the burning bush, "What is your name?" the answer thundered not from the sky, but from the silence of his own soul. I am that I am. The Bible has been recited for centuries, but few have paused to feel the fire in those words. I am is not a phrase to describe God. It is God. It is the eternal, self-aware life in you saying, I exist. Every time you say, I am, you speak the sacred name. You invoke the very power that creates worlds. And yet, how casually we use it. We say, I am tired, I am sick, I am poor. And the subconscious, faithful Eve, accepts the declaration and shapes it into reality. But when you awaken to the truth that I am is the infinite presence in you, you begin to guard every word that follows it. You realize that each I am is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. Every phrase that follows becomes prophecy. So begin again. Say, I am whole. I am divine. I am guided by the infinite wisdom within me. And let the universe echo, it is so. The burning bush was never a shrub on a mountain. It is the moment your awareness catches fire with realization, when you see that the divine presence burns in you and yet you are not consumed. The bush is your body, the flame is your spirit, and the voice is the intuition that speaks from eternity. Every time you quiet your mind and turn inward, you stand before that same bush. You hear the same voice saying, take off your shoes. That means remove the coverings of fear, pride, and separation, for you stand on holy ground, the ground of your own being. The fire of I am is not outside you. It is your own consciousness realizing its divinity. It is the light that guided Moses, the power that healed the blind, the wisdom that raised the dead, for these are symbols of the awakening soul. When the blind see, it means awareness has opened its eyes. When the dead rise, it means forgotten faith has awakened. When water turns to wine, it means emotion has been transmuted into divine joy. This is the inner Bible, alive within you. To say, I am God, does not mean the small self becomes the Almighty. It means the small self awakens to its source, like a wave remembering it is the ocean. You are not the creator apart from God. You are God expressing through creation. The breath that animates the stars is the same breath that moves your chest as you read these words. Every time you love, forgive, create, or imagine, you are the infinite in motion. You are the eternal, gazing at itself through human eyes. This is not arrogance, it is reverence. For when you realize the one life flows through all, you cannot harm another, for there is no other. You see that every person, every creature, every atom is another face of the same presence, saying, I am. This realization is the end of all conflict and the beginning of true compassion. It is the return to Eden, the oneness beyond good and evil, beyond opposites, beyond fear. To live as I am is to walk through the world as one who knows the source within. It is to speak not from lack, but from power, not from fear, but from peace. You no longer react, you create. When challenges appear, you do not say, why me? You say, this too shall reveal the glory of the I am. And it does. For nothing in this world exists to punish you. Everything exists to wake you, to bring you home to yourself. The same law that once seemed to work against you now becomes your servant. Your subconscious, once ruled by fear, now obeys love. Every cell of your being responds to your inner word as to the voice of God. When you say, I am peace, the nervous system quiets. When you say, I am whole, the body reorganizes toward harmony. When you say, I am prosperous, the universe begins to arrange itself in correspondence. The I am is not a statement. It is a vibration. Speak it with feeling, and the infinite moves through you. Every story in Scripture, the prodigal son, the exodus from Egypt, the resurrection, is your own journey of awakening. You left the Father's house, consciousness of unity, and wandered into the far country of material belief. You fed on husks, the appearances of the senses, until hunger for truth brought you home. And the Father, your higher self, ran to meet you, not with judgment, but with joy. This is the real meaning of salvation. You are not being saved from sin. You are being saved from ignorance. You are not escaping hell. You are awakening from it. For hell is separation. Heaven is unity. And both are states of consciousness, here and now. The journey ends where it began, in the realization, I and the Father are one. The Garden of Eden was never lost. It was hidden behind the veil of literal belief. And now, as you see through that veil, the flaming sword becomes light, and the gate stands open. There is no future heaven waiting to reward you. There is only the eternal now, this living moment, pregnant with infinite possibility. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and it appears whenever you are still enough to see it. It is in the breath that pauses between thoughts. It is in the silence after prayer. It is in the heart that says thank you before the miracle appears. When you dwell in this awareness, time loses its tyranny. You realize that eternity is not endless time, it is timelessness. And in that timeless state, all things are possible. The future you seek already exists in potential. To bring it forth, simply feel it now. Live as if it were already true. The subconscious will bridge the gap between vision and experience, and life will unfold like a divine symphony, measure by measure. And so the allegories dissolve. The serpent becomes wisdom. The woman becomes the creative power. The man becomes the directive will. And the garden becomes your own awakened mind. You realize that the Bible was never a story about others. It was the anatomy of your soul. Every verse, every symbol, every miracle was a mirror showing you yourself. To read it literally is to walk among shadows. To read it mystically is to see the light shining through every line. The Garden of Eden, the cross, the resurrection, these are not events to remember, but states to enter. You can rise this very moment, not from a tomb of stone, but from a tomb of fear. You can resurrect into a higher dimension of being, where your thoughts are prayers and your feelings are divine decrees. For truly the kingdom of God is within you, and you are within it. And now the promise made in the opening words is complete. You have seen that the Bible was never literal. It was psychological truth wrapped in poetry. You have walked again in the garden of your own mind. You have met Adam and Eve, the serpent and the tree, the Christ and the cross, and discovered them all within yourself. You are the dreamer and the dream, the creator and the created, the thinker and the thought, the eternal I am, experiencing itself through time, learning its own name through you. And when you know this, not as belief, but as realization, a great peace descends. You see the divine order in all things. You forgive the past because you understand it. You bless the present because it is holy. And you welcome the future because it is good. Take a deep breath, close your eyes. Feel the silent power within your chest, the still, radiant awareness that has been here since before birth. That is the I am. It is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end of all things. It was never born and can never die. It is the real you. Say quietly within, I am the light of my own consciousness. I am the life that moves through every form. I am the love that sustains the stars. I am one with the infinite. Feel the truth of it until every cell of your being vibrates with peace. You are no longer seeking the divine, you are expressing it. You are no longer reading the Bible, you are living it. And now, as this journey draws to a close, imagine yourself standing once more in the garden of your soul. The rivers flow with golden light. The serpent rests peacefully in the grass. Adam and Eve walk hand in hand, thought and feeling united in love. Above you, the tree of life shines with fruit that glows like stars. You reach out, take the fruit, and taste it. It is sweet, the flavor of realization. You have eaten of the tree of life, and your eyes are open. You see the one power flowing through all things, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And as you stand there, radiant and still, a voice rises from within you, not as sound, but as knowing. Behold, I make all things new. The garden was never lost. You were, and now you are found. If this message has awakened something within you, if you feel the quiet pull of the infinite, continue the journey. Join our circle of seekers and creators here on this channel. Become a member to receive early access to new cinematic narrations and deeper meditations. Because the truth is not to be believed, it is to be lived. And life, in its highest form, begins when you remember who you are. You are the light behind the story. You are the dreamer behind the dream. You are the living Word made flesh. You are I am. Stop taking the Bible literally. Start living it mystically. For the kingdom of heaven is within you, and it has been waiting for you all along.